on the left of this sheet, you would only end up the year with 35,000 in the fund balance.
If I don't plan for extra.
We gotta see him first.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to probably tweak, because when they found that's what I sent out to everybody. But she said they didn't really show this very well. Because she put the 14. So when I sent out that budget sheet, I told them to plan for the worst case scenario. But I still have to put more in there for our county side.
So that was kind of a piss poor job of
Well, and I don't know, she just
representation on their
assumed
part.
we understood, but that's Katie, because now we have that Katie back. Remember the curly haired Katie was with Kingston? I got an email from her and she took a job with group. And I was like, oh, thank you, can you help us, please? So her and I and Nancy said.
Tracy.
And that's why if we want them to take over being the guardianship for that life insurance, for that Madison Life, we have to sign this too.
What about these calls?
Because otherwise we have that separate entity. And then if we sign it over to them, then it's all.
They'll handle it.
I have never had any luck with it. I got one.
So are we gonna be able to go back and change things?
I'll have to go in and probably tweak the departments by whoever has a family or single. I'm gonna have to cushion some of theirs.
Our dogs.
I haven't looked at that part, just strictly
going
that.
nuts. Cats are just.
But if they put that 15, whatever, I'll play with the difference and look at it. But it's gonna be, I have to put each individual. But I was just showing you guys that, because it's gonna change the amount.
What happened to you when it stayed with the same plan that we had?
We still would have had to budget for that extra.
We still would?
That's just the plain package, because we're partial self-funded. So when we partial self-fund that other, then we have to add to that. And there's years we took it, you know, we might come out ahead, but then there's years we come to take a hit. So that's why I thought, if you guys want to readdress it, you can come back in. She said she'd be more than happy, because we still have till July to, renew, but I need it for budget years. So if you guys are for sure staying with that option, because then I heard employees about that deductible stuff with their Carl, but I think I got most of them understanding it. They paid up front.
You got an extra agenda?
Yeah.
So is it gonna crank them off a little bit more if we up their monthly cost compared to losing that chiropractic?
That's what I figured I'd put it on there, readdress it if you wanted to. I don't know if that's something you wanna talk with the department heads today on something, I don't.
And going down $35,000 for a reserve balance is a little skimpy.
Yeah, you don't like to get that low.
Yeah.
You have to have reserve.
What are they paying right now, percentage? On the HRA?
What are we paying? I think it was 40% the last time.
We was?
And we kinda just kept it the same. Wasn't that, was it last year? 2 years ago when we had it in there and then we took that extra and did the dental and eye when the employees didn't have that budget for. So that's where some of that ate up that fund.
It's only gonna get worse. Yeah, remember you gotta come up here again at night.
7 o'clock.
7?
I think it's 7, isn't it?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Is it 6?
6:30, split the difference. What it is.
6:30.
I just did the one this morning, because it wouldn't turn off that website.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you asked for it, so that's why I gave it to you.
I was gonna bring it in my computer and I walked off.
I couldn't get mine to work.
Yeah, I had a hard time figuring it out, so I did a snippet and then I printed it.
What's the ones in yellow?
Well, it tells you down there.
No, I didn't print that. The four yellow are closed, the green is open, and the other's to appointment only.
Oh, the yellow are closed.
Yes, and I did talk to Kelly a little bit, but
Which
she
is
said,
Wayne County.
a lot of them just do it online, but she
Oak
said too,
Lynn,
if they keep going online, you're not gonna need them
and
employees.
Henry.
I mean, think about it, if you keep this online stuff, why are we paying that many employees?
Yep, and some of the ones with appointments is like Kema, which is next door.
Hmm.
Jones is there by
Yeah.
appointment.
Dubuque, Clayton, Johnson.
Yeah,
But some of their courthouse too, they have like, annex buildings. Their courthouses might be for court, but they have other buildings that do the, like auditor has an auditor annexation building.
according to the news this morning that, what do they call that? An offshoot from COVID. Bremer has one, Johnson has 2 cases.
And the representative in Des Moines last week, the Democrat that wore a mask all the time,
I saw that.
tested positive.
Like I told you, if you guys keep, I don't have a problem keeping it closed, I was doing the research for you. Is why I said that, so
This is
you
why
kinda threw me
I'm
under the
gonna
bus
state
today.
this today.
What's that?
I said, you kinda threw me under the bus today.
To Dave.
Yeah.
Dave called me and said, what's going on?
Well, how did he know about it? Cause I only forwarded that email to
Because
the
they
three.
had, how the department heads find out about it.
Because somebody forwarded it to Dave, and I only
Oh,
forwarded it to
no,
you.
this was after the department heads hit Dave up. He called me
And I know who that one is too. I'm just tired of the animosity, and that one speaks both sides. 'Cause they're bitching and whining that people aren't working, but yet they don't wanna open because they're worried about someone in their office's health. The basement. I'm tired of it. They come up to my office daily. So I finally asked her yesterday, what side are you on? I'm tired of this. I told you. And we're letting one person rule. He is not a supervisor. He is not above me. I have every right to voice my opinion, but that was me
Totally
telling
do.
him. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Gina come in here today, and I'm gonna go on this side
He
today.
said, all the department heads got this but me.
Nobody
I
got
said,
it.
What do you mean?
Nobody else
It's
got
a
that
book
but
letter.
you three.
So I said,
Did you
well, this
forward
is
it
what
on?
came out. I did. Because he said, could I have a copy? You betcha.
I did not send it to any department heads, just you three supervisors. So see, he
Yeah.
talks false accusations. That's retaliation.
Yeah, he doesn't know who turned him in. Because he brought that up. I was like, so?
I really don't care.
Keep your P's and Q's in a row, you know?
And Nancy will say it, she did.
Yeah.
She has, and she's ready to quit. She's tired of working in the environment. So is Gina. And if those two leave, I'm out of here too. Why do we keep putting up with it? If we don't get outsourced HR, people don't wanna go talk to him, but they come in and bitch.
You know,
Take our
that
time. I'm
HR
so
thing,
tired of it.
that HR thing,
But then we wouldn't need his advice on that COVID policy. He really shouldn't weigh in on that. That's coming from HR.
you know, when we hired Mona, for example, that was done with the committee. Okay? From what I understand, IT was done with the committee as well. Shouldn't we be looking at HR with the committee? We've got
I have
2
no problem.
large unions in the county. And those people should be on a committee to help decide whether it's outsourced or in-house.
And that's fine, because I did, when the one says she doesn't want to, some of them don't want to deal with unions, some do. So,
And I think the chairman should probably be on that committee to look into this outsourcing or in-house. We
But
need
I'm
to do
just
something
saying, he
different.
doesn't have a say of all the county employees. You guys need to, I know you three are in charge of the motion today, but maybe you need to ask all department head what they truly feel, rather than letting one decide.
You know, yesterday's news, there was some fancy doctor someplace that spoke just like Gary. Gary has told us for months how vaccinating his cattle about 75% wipes out the virus. This doctor yesterday said as soon as the public is 50 to 70% vaccinated, this virus will go away. And the question then to him was, when do you think we'll have 50 to 70% of the population vaccinated? He said it will be late summer, late spring, early summer.
But I still feel like we keep prolonging this to people. It's like it's our new normal. We've taken the measures. It's time. Well, then you guys need to make people report back to their jobs, not just working from home and half-assing it. Because that's the worst animosity that it's causing.
And so it causes some animosity. And so if you can have your staff work, alternating as well.
You can't get the work done. I'm sorry.
That's what's going
It's
on.
not work, and they're not doing their jobs productively. I'm waiting on an investigation from Mr. Thompson for voter fraud. He's not giving it to me on purpose. So the state, I'm just gonna sit the state on it.
Something to do.
But you guys are letting this happen, like, and I don't care if you go back and tell David what I'm saying. I really don't, so.
Well, I'm not a tattletale. The guy called me and he asked a question. And, I
You
didn't
should
know
have
it was a
called me
secret
first and
email.
asked the facts. It wasn't a secret email.
So,
Tracy asked me to do something.
I
and
asked
did.
her to do this.
Okay.
So from now
I'm
on,
up front. I wanted you guys just to know you asked it last Tuesday. How many courthouses are
Yes.
open in the
I'm
surrounding
always the
area?
middle guy and get shit on, so I'm done.
So that's why I had her find the information.
Right. And you got Buchanan County that came down here, that judge who said, you're up there all that day, you get sworn in, and said, you guys have done an excellent job nipping this in the bud.
Yeah, that was unsolicited.
That is correct.
She said that all over.
We've all seen, on social media, the guy running a track meet that just gets up to the finish line and he throws his hands up like he's celebrating, and at the very last second gets passed by the other guy and he loses. I really hate to be this close to our finish line and get stupid. I'm just El Melinda's got a gal working now. They're not at work.
She didn't catch it at work. She got it from her home though. She got it from her family at home. So.
Exactly. So what I said, getting to is, it wouldn't have taken much if she'd have been into the office before, she said anything. Wow. That could have gone through her office like
There
a
was
wildfire.
There was a positive at the courthouse. There is a
Just
positive.
recently.
Family member of one of the workers, treasurer's office. So,
So it's not.
what's the gal's name?
Oh, we're not
No,
supposed to
he's
discuss
tested
it.
positive.
That's kind of HIPAA, so
She's asymptomatic.
we're not naming names.
She's
Well,
home. She's
Well, it
home.
was named in the email.
Yeah, she's home. She's home, but she's not sick. So simple.
And if you don't got the email, you know who it is anyway, whether it's named or not. So, yeah.
Part of the problem, I think, is we're in the middle of winter. And people are a little on edge. There's snow. Yeah. It's just tough time. Honestly, the county attorney's upstairs. Nobody goes up there anyway. It's not that big a
And
deal.
there's not many that go in the basement either, honestly.
Right. I mean, really, all the people do is come in and get their plates and license.
That's limited, how many really high now,
Yeah. But I agree, we should try and keep things as good as we can for as long as we can.
Well, I believe we'll probably have a recommendation.
From,
Well, the health board gonna come in? Nope.
No, he can't come.
She can't.
But I told her if she wanted to send a statement or whatever or something, she could.
Did she?
She was asking around all the department heads last night. Like 9 o'clock, because Nancy's husband's on it. So, we got Mark Barton a few lines yesterday. So I'm just, like I said, I hear both sides. I mean, I have no problem, because my office is the same no matter what. But the public, it's just hard to figure out, if so-and-so's on vacation, they're not prepared for training and this and that. So I'm just having to check. So I thought this one would be transparent. Hi,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Johnson.
good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you? You can sit wherever. Bye. Coming down, the happy shepherd with Mars.
Oh. That's really happy to ask you.
Yeah, sorry.
Responsible for
I think Riverview still wants to come back, but I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see what you guys tell us tonight.
I was coming over here. Did you get the cabinets in?
Yep.
Good.
Got the countertop put in Friday, sinks put in
Transportation.
Friday, yep.
Got security lighting up. Lights up that area pretty well.
So we got we get charged for the gas.
We got a meter. We only went 2 weeks without a meter, so.
Wasn't our problem.
She's concerned like this weekend about if you heard the forecast, how cold it's supposed to get, the wind and all that.
Yeah.
You know,
Somebody said
you
it
got
sounds
an
better
old
out.
banner, you sit outside,
Put them inside. That's the
you got a building 50 degrees. You just gotta
Your wife
back
good to
out.
go?
Yeah, it kind of depends what station you
Well,
listen to.
I
One
think
says 10 below, one says 14 below, without wind chill.
We were
Yeah.
there in December, but we didn't have to do the test.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're gonna be done right away. The tree. I see you got 2 bids, or somebody got 2 bids?
Trees would be a
Okay,
better way to put it,
okay.
and I didn't bring those bids with me and
How many is there?
laptop.
2?
2.
There's 2 trees, it's a willow out here, and then there's another one over by
I don't know if it's a
Second.
small one or it's the one next to it. I
Yeah.
don't know which one it is.
Haley. Can you pull up those 2 quotes, please?
Greg.
Well, that's a lot of money.
Well, he's also gonna grind the stumps up.
Walton's stumps,
One was outrageous.
to remove it's 1,500, to grind 500, to remove the other stuff, and Brenda is another 300 for a total of 2461. And then the Graham's tree stump, to remove it's 1150, it's pretty comparable on that stuff. Remove 120, another 150, and 40 to clean up. So that total is 1460.
1460. that did include the grinding, correct?
Yep, it says remove stump, well, remove, is that part of grinding? Maybe it doesn't specify grinding in it,
So one tree's 2461.
No,
No,
yeah,
That's
the
both.
3, or the 2 trees,
Mhm.
And then what's this other?
1,400, same thing.
Same thing.
It's a different tree though.
No, same trees. Two bids,
Oh, too big.
2 bids,
$1,001 difference.
yep. Do I have a motion to accept one?
You got a motion to hire Graham Tree Service, however that's pronounced,
Second.
to remove those as per his bid.
who's gonna let him know, are you gonna just let Greg know, or?
How soon are they gonna have it done?
I have no idea, I'm just the middle person.
No idea.
And, what about that wire? I guess this is different, but we got that guy wire over there on the west side.
And they're working on it. Yeah, it'll be in work. So, I got a motion and a second, all in favor of hiring Graham's Tree Service for $1,460? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll reply to Greg quick and tell him that's what we did.
Are you here, Mark, for the sheriff?
He's for that 9:30 start.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
And I did not get anything from Phil, so I don't have reports for you until he's done. I'd
Okay,
like to give you the breakdown.
okay. How about number 9? We discussed that.
Yeah, or did you wanna wait for some of the department heads to weigh in, I mean, to call? If you wanna have, group benefits be our broker, then we have to sign this letter for the life insurance, cause that was a separate entity. You guys remember that? So that's why that part's on there, and the rest was just clarifying, to make sure you understood what policy and the different prices.
I just assume we get some of the department heads in.
But you can act on the other one.
Yeah, if
Appointing
you wanna
group
fight,
benefits partners.
Yeah.
That's for the, was that the I?
no, that's just the life voluntary life insurance.
Yeah.
But they will not be responsible for errors or omissions that are occurred, that kind of stuff, but I think we can just pay them one, and then they'll handle all the rest.
So you need a motion to approve that.
Yes, I do.
Approval and
So
signature.
made.
Second it, Gary. Have you seen it? Have you seen the letter?
Here's the one, here's the one, I'll let her sign it.
Sign it after.
Okay. So for part of that budget work, we can talk some stuff. I sent you the lead stuff.
Yes, I did.
You wanna vote on this?
We will. He wants to read this.
And this probably should go to you, Tracy. Iowa Good Roads Association. It's,
$95 dues per year. They pay that every year.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
So if you wanna initial it,
Okay. Is this also, meeting that's gonna go on today or tomorrow?
oh,
No?
Marlon was no maybe on that, I don't know.
Okay. I got that forwarded me too.
The supervisor wide one?
No, this is for the county roads.
I didn't see that.
On her back. But,
It's just the bill, yeah, that's fine, I'll code it.
okay, you got it? You wanna second it?
Yeah.
Alright, we got a first and a second. To approve, oh, how was it stated?
appoint.
Appoint group benefit Benefit Partners as a broker
for our life insurance policy.
for life insurance policy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Half that. Now we can go to that weed commissioners.
Yeah, I emailed you that one, I don't think I really have any. I did send it to Myron as well, I just don't wanna make sure we're not double dipping in the same areas, or everything's covered, since it's all split out again. That will definitely increase our rural service levy.
How much?
Well, he's asking 300-some thousand that we didn't pay out of that last year. And your rural stuff, because that was, or general stuff, where we pay EMA, that's already gonna be increased too. So we have to cover the share that the payroll didn't pick up.
There's no action to take on that.
No, I just wanted some.
FYI.
And then what your thought process is for the mental health fund, since we found out what we owe the region. Are we gonna split the difference, levy the portion, use fund balance, or?
The, levy is 30.2.
I got those emails. So how much of that do you wanna use fund balance?
$30.20 levy.
But it amounted to about, what was it, 800,000 a year that we paid the region. I gotta look that up. I didn't know if you wanted to report on that.
Just, well, how much money we got left? The problem is that's gotta be spent by a certain,
We have to have it down, yeah. They sent me a worksheet to play with, but I kinda wanna know what your thoughts are. Cause you know how one year we levied 0, we used the full, and then last year we levied a portion of it.
What was that portion, do you recall?
there is a bill floating around down at the legislature to give us more time.
Well, that's what I saw, but it doesn't help us when we have to publish our levies and stuff.
Yeah,
Let's see, we put in for the mental health, we had 0 last year.
in all honesty, Polk County is short money. They're always short money. I don't know why, but they're always short. And I think Polk County's a lot behind this whole deal. 'Cause I mean, what difference does it make?
Were we levying, what was it?
I gotta find
I
my,
thought we were levying, what, 32 before?
It was higher.
it was like 35 or 36, 53, I don't know, it was an odd amount,
Exactly.
so they did lower that.
Of which we weren't quite there, I don't believe, we were a little under that.
I think, in all honesty, I think it's a way for Polk County to get the rest of the state in trouble. And they don't do a good job anyway. I'm sorry, but they don't. The regions are kind of, well, our region is, I would say, one of the better regions.
Yeah, we paid the full 871, 828 out of, we levied all that last year. So that's where we were debating on going half and half. So I don't know, I guess, I don't go to those regional meetings, I talk with Mona. So, out of that 800-some thousand, how much do you wanna levy for? Do half and half and play with it and see where we're at? Cause I have to wait until we know what they're using for the rural access center and then they spread it out. So we're gonna take that out. It really hurt us that year we didn't pay that fourth quarter payment.
Well, I think you should do a minimum of 50%.
That's what I was playing with that number, so I just wanted to make sure we're okay with that. And Mona kinda felt that way too.
and then you could see what it,
what a prediction is with, when you get all the
and then
numbers.
you can tweak up or down, you know, but if you have a starting point.
Right. Cause I always wanna try to keep the overall levy the same.
Last year, we upped our levy and then we didn't spend the fourth quarter. That was a problem.
No, the June 20th, we did, or yeah, that's what I mean, that was a big chunk. And it hurts the region as a whole too, because they have to bring their fund downtown too. So all of us, so then when they don't bring theirs down, then they have to give you that money back out, and then we get revenue back on top of it.
This whole COVID thing is, it's not as good at these regional meetings. I'm sorry, but it's just not. People aren't speaking up.
Phil Borleski out there waiting to come in. Do you know when the peak works?
No.
Phil, do you know Phil Borleski? For the historic president?
So what do you fellas think? She threw out a number of 50-50.
How much money do we got left in there on the fund balance that wasn't spent?
Let me run a report as of today and tell you. Because what I do is I look at the end of the fiscal year, and we look at what they're predicting. And we're still gonna be a little heavy on the balance, if we wanna be down.
Geez, I was thinking maybe 60-40.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they were talking earlier was, you know, go down to 40%. But where it was earlier than that was 20%.
Well, and the regional, Deb's waiting for us to kind of tell her, and then she's gonna look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
And then kind of give her input again.
The biggest problem that I see is what happens if next year we don't spend everything.
That's right, and you're supposed to have it down.
We've got some projects we can put it towards.
We can spend it.
It has to be, did you ask, did they bring up the parking lot? Since mental health fund is in here, or housing here, that was supposed to be brought up. What they felt about that.
It wasn't. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it
No,
up.
it's like, I mean, I told Mona and everybody about it, so.
But
Do you have any idea what our parking lot's gonna cost? I need to know these big things. Parking lot, you guys are gonna do those towers, and how you're gonna fund that, if it's gonna be general obligation debt,
the what?
those towers,
Communication towers.
communication towers and sirens. There's a lot of big puzzles, pieces here I'm missing.
Are you guys getting emails from somebody in Fairfax about these towers?
Because if you guys do purchase, are you gonna have the cities all pay into that? Or are we gonna
really
need that?
haven't discussed it
I
much.
mean, that's a big chunk for us to just eat, and it's
Yeah.
benefiting everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, those are things you guys need to think about, because those are big chunks for the budget.
The towers you're talking with the sheriff's office. Yeah, and we already heard regarding, you know, if your communities each pitch in, the downfall of having that happen, because they could end up with different systems, different equipment that, you know, may have issues with, you know. So we've already heard all about that.
We gotta have a sit-down meeting with Ron or
Well, I would like to
whoever.
get that gentleman back in here. I tried to email him and try to reach out to another county that he was, because he quoted some counties that he did the work for.
Correct. So,
So I wanna make sure I know how they did that general obligation debt.
Tracy, you wanna try to put something together
Yeah.
for a sit down?
What's his name, Mike?
I figured we could get Ron in here. Let Ron
Okay,
start the
so,
ball rolling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that the other two things before we get off the subject of the
I think
parking
so.
lot and
Yeah, those are the big things I kinda really need to know.
Well,
before
there was
public-
three things.
Well,
Your
the debt.
towers for the sheriff's office, for the communications. We were talking parking lot, and that is a bigger section back here that's not even looked at. As well as, the 911 sirens and those poles. And so that's three
We
things.
got haircuts.
911.
EMA.
Like if he's gonna fund
Yeah.
some of it or versus us.
From the payroll,
Oh,
you know.
Because if we don't, what I
Good
put
morning.
in there, we have 318 for
What's
that
cordial?
transportation. But I put
Why
in
should we do
there,
that?
mhm.
so, you feel like you're gonna have a little cushion there anyway, right?
I'm hoping so. The only one is outstanding is Edwards. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Ron, I was gonna ask, do you wanna name all of them on there so we can give them an official page or just this one?
Just that one. The
Okay.
other ones are probably,
Cause I looked back and that's what we usually did.
Yep.
But, okay,
the other ones will be in the contract.
this is for, when we swore in the deputies type thing. It has to have a book and page resolution on the certificate. We didn't formally do this deputies like we did Melinda's and I, so that's why it's on there today. 'Cause the other two, you have them as sergeants, right? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Is she here?
No,
Phil,
Good morning.
we'll take you next, bud.
You want to see anything? Okay,
And I don't know,
that's all right.
do
We're not gonna worry
they
about it.
wanna call in on this one? And listen and talk that way? We can call the supervisor on.
We're down there.
Breathe out real hard. Steam his glasses real good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So- I don't know if you know or not, but I have some amazing news.
I seen it.
I've got it
Well,
too.
it's now official.
Okay,
Couldn't say anything until it was official.
I seen it last
I
night.
think I have the letter in here too. We've gotten
And,
a
and,
lot of grants.
and here is Benton County and Benton, and the last time one of these things was held in Iowa was 20 years ago in Dubuque. But ordinarily they're in places like New York, and Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia, and San Francisco, and so on, and this one is going to be in Benton, Iowa.
We haven't figured out where yet, but Benton County.
Well, Benton County, yeah.
And it goes on their website, so you can look for the last 20 years where they were. There's this map and there's a dot that will go here.
And it's, what is the official name of that?
It's through the National Association of Preservation Commissions. It's a camp grant, which is commission assisted mentoring program. So basically what happens is nationally known historic preservationists, we pick 3, and it's either a one day in-person workshop or a 2-day virtual workshop for these 3 people to come in and teach us more.
Sweet.
And we can invite, you can have up to 30 people there. So then you sell the other 25 spots for different other commissioners in Iowa to come.
And this is to be held when?
We're aiming for September, October,
Okay. Hopefully through this.
long past this. But we have Plan A and Plan B.
Good.
And on that note, I'm just giving you guys this this was the budget portion of the grant we applied for. And at some point, I need to talk to you about how to do spending authority with that, because I have no clue.
We did put some in there this current fiscal year because you guys knew you were applying for the one,
Right,
so that's kind of basically what we have to do.
Okay.
Even if you're just planning to apply, otherwise I have to amend the budget
right. So that's why I did our budget,
with thinking that in mind, right?
yes.
Okay, that's good.
Because I have one line that's received and one line that's applied.
Okay, that's what we're,
Because we're gonna apply for some more.
and the county would know, like, if we were denied that, obviously we're not gonna let you guys spend that.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah. But like I said, now that we actually have one, I don't know how to make that work.
Nope.
Okay,
that happened to us a lot this year, we had lots of grants that we weren't paying for.
I'm trying. And then the glasses thing.
So they want you to submit your budget this way too, right? Break it down for them.
That's what all the grants are.
Yeah,
So,
because they'll ask for everything back to cover it too.
Right.
So I would just recommend keeping the document.
oh yeah,
And then some.
You can't pay those documents.
No, I mean,
Isn't
you have to
Would
submit
you
the
like a
same
copy
stuff
too?
over and over before it's finally approved. I got word yesterday that my, election stuff was officially approved, and I submitted that back in November.
so, real quick, I'm gonna run through some of our highlights, even 2020 has been 2020. We applied for 3 grants, we received 1. We attended 2 virtual conferences. One was the Iowa Preservation Summit that was obviously virtual, but it was supposed to be in Dubuque. The other one that we signed up for was the NAPC one, which was held quote unquote in Tacoma. But it was virtual also. That's the same thing as the one that we went to in Des Moines 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They threw a couple of weeks before this happened, they threw up a grant that you can apply for to go for free. So I'm like, yeah, let's roll this out. We got that grant also. So we never had to pay our fee. I figured, why not? What do we have to lose? We worked with 5 or 6 people, or 5 or 6 different historic properties this last year
Yes,
on
yes.
different things. So we were busy, even though we were, 90% virtual and on the phone. So anyway, this is our budget for this year. If you want me to go through it with you, or
So, and one of the properties, well, among the properties we worked with was, Preston Station, which did get on the National Register. And then they suffered some damage in August with the derecho. We also have been working with St. Michael Catholic Church in Norway. They lost their steeple, and we're trying to help them get a special grant restoration of that steeple and other work, and help them get on the National Register for that church.
Yeah.
And a couple of other congregations. Where?
Spencer Grove.
Yeah. In Spencer's Grove, we worked with them and to get a grant from the Benton County Community Foundation. However, because of COVID, and I was on that foundation board for my 5-6 years, whatever it was. They decided last year because of COVID, they wouldn't help anybody except people stuff. And so they didn't give any historic grants at all. We were working with Spencer Grove to help them restore a beautiful big stained glass window. The window's in Davenport, waiting restoration. I think we'll reapply on their behalf this year. And I think they have a good chance of getting it, we hope, and so on. What else have we done? We're also somewhat involved in the Herring Hotel. Different management, different organization, and that sort of thing, and we're kind of, at a hands-off distance from them, but we're also giving them some advice and that sort of thing. We hope it can be restored, but there's a lot of issues involved in that thing.
The city of Belle Plaine is wanting to take it down, I think.
They do want to take it down. Then there's a group, and it's sort of a Lincoln Highway Association wants to restore it, wants to preserve it and restore it and make it sustainable.
So far, they have $80,000 in cash sitting there.
They have
elected.
I think they have a better chance and a better reputation. So I don't know what's going to happen. The building may be gone yet. Who knows? I don't know. But we're giving the kind of assistance that we should be giving.
currently Belle Plaine has an offer, has a proposal from this group that they're gonna discuss tomorrow. Oh, the other thing I should point out is December 28th of this year, Iowa turns 175. So through the State Historical Society and the SHPO office, we've been getting emails about different activities to do to celebrate the 175th anniversary of Iowa. So that's why that's in here.
December when?
28th, day after my birthday. A little hard to forget that, you know what I mean?
Hard to do outside celebrations in December.
But there's a whole, right now, one of the things they have, and they send you a toolbox, is a bingo card. To spend the whole entire year filling out your bingo card. And when you get a bingo, then you can ship it in, and I can't remember, you get a special gift or something. So that stuff can all be done individually, you know, you just have to promote it. And if I ever get time, we're working on our Facebook page. I know it needs to go on it, but it just takes time to get it put together.
So getting to your budget here
Yes?
is $5,380 is what you're asking
Yes.
for, and you are applying for and received a $6,000 grant.
The one that I just passed out
Yeah.
that's the email that we got that
Mhm.
for that conference.
Right. Okay. And so the 5380 is on top of your grants that you've already received, correct?
Yeah. And I mean, we have the grant, but I don't know how that money process works because I haven't sent out the contracts yet for everybody to sign. So,
Won't you need spending authority for that grant money?
We have some currently in this fiscal year's budget
Yeah.
because last year she told us to apply for that one. So we're covered under that one.
Okay, good.
So now you're talking next one you're trying to.
And she's applying for a $3,000
Yep.
grant. So is that budget gonna have to reflect that? Okay.
It'll show that in the expenditures. And then we'll try to show it on the revenue even though that's a
Yeah.
guesstimate.
once we do this once and I go through the process, then I'll be smarter at it. But I have no idea if they tell you have the grant, but they don't give you the grant until after you've spent it.
Sometimes it just has to be a certain percentage local match or.
Yeah,
However, your request is for the 5380, correct?
yeah, and see,
Oh, yeah.
we
We're
have a
running
cash
over
match
time.
for that, but that's in this year's
So, might
budget,
remember that
and
when
we've
we
already,
call and we're ready to discuss that.
I've already talked to the place that NAPC about getting that all
Okay.
done.
That's on this
Okay. And
6,000.
we can call and we can present it to them.
In order to book the people, you have to pay
Hopefully.
before, some before,
Okay.
and that'd be in this year's budget.
Yeah, that's
Instead
what
of-
you
Yeah,
have spending authority for.
Yeah.
And she's already got that in.
okay,
But your 21-22 budget's 5380.
yes.
Yep.
Which is slightly down from last year, it was 61.
I sent you
For
guys
this
that,
year. Yes.
that worksheet.
Those are very helpful.
But her
It
grant
shows you the history.
ain't gonna show up until 22, correct? The 6,000, even though you're okay to get it now.
But that that one was already accepted, so we should receive that this fiscal year, correct?
And it's in
I would
this,
assume if we've got notice, they should be sending us that.
you just said it's already in the current
Yes,
budget
I have
for
her spending
spending
authority,
authority.
but we don't have the actual check cash in the bank yet.
And see, I don't know, since I've never done one of these grants, whether you have to turn in all the paperwork before, you know, whether you have to wait till after October when we've held it to turn it in and get the
Do
money
they have a
back.
contact person that you can reach out to them? Because usually for grants, like you have to show all your expenses, invoices, everything, check numbers.
Paula Moore,
Yes,
and she told me she would be sending us a packet with contracts next week.
all right, that's fine. It'll probably be in there, maybe they'll explain, maybe they'll deposit at ACH. They might have to contact me and get the
Okay.
ACH amount, you know, for them to put it in electronically.
All right,
If it comes from the state, usually it's electronic.
yes.
So like I said, then, this will be in 22's budget again, right? Kaylee?
This other amount she's
The
talking.
6,000.
So basically, it looks like the bottom dollar is almost the same as it was last year.
Sit anywhere you please.
I'm gonna sit right by you then.
That's fine.
She had her shots last week.
What's that?
She had her shots last week.
6,000
Yeah.
in
Yep.
22 budget, you don't have in here.
No,
Yes.
she has it down at the bottom. That's what she's
I have it
asking
separate.
for.
Yeah. Yeah, receipt.
But she wrote paying for it, so. What I'll do is put these numbers in that budget worksheet again. Send it to you and then you can look at it as a whole.
Okay,
But I might reach out to Paul and ask her. Maybe check that one.
okay.
I have her email, so.
Like you said,
No, that's fine. You're learning.
Thank you.
Ron, you're
Sure.
Dave called. So I told her I'd call her back when we're ready.
Okay.
So if we're ready to go that. What was her name again?
Randy,
Randy.
did we talk about the conference?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll email you, Phil, as well, when I get those numbers in there. So I'll just send it to both of you too.
Okay,
Alright?
thanks.
Yep. Alright, I'm gonna call her. Put her on.
Thank you.
Hi Brandy, this is Haley, I'm the county supervisor. I'm gonna put you on speaker now. Hopefully you can hear everybody. Okay.
Well, we're here today. Last week, we talked about the Riverview Center, and they were looking for some funding. This is a project that in great part would replace the Riverview Center. This is a project between Clayton, Delaware, Jones, and Benton counties so we can get back on track with our sexual assault response teams. Without putting anybody on the spot, probably our best person to go to that's dealt with this the longest is going to be Jerry and Mark. And I know Jerry was in when we first started this 4 years ago. Yeah. And then Brandy's been in it since the beginning also. So Brandy, why don't I just kind of turn it over to you a little bit, an explanation of the proposal.
Okay, sure. So, what's been proposed and approved through Clayton, Jones, and Delaware so far has been a split position, which would be part sexual assault response team coordinator, and the other piece would be victim witness coordinator. So the victim witness coordinator position, Iowa Code 915 states that victims have the right to multiple things. Paperwork is a big piece of that, so right to restitution, right to be notified of having victim advocates, right to victim witness statements. So there's several different things that are legally required by the county attorney's office and also by law enforcement to provide to victims of all crimes. It's not just sex crimes, so that could be sexual assault, it could be domestic violence, it could be homicide, theft, and that coordinator position really handles the cases coming into the county attorney's office and into law enforcement from start to finish. So that may be attending the court, making sure it has all of the paperwork, the documentation, prepping for trial, all of those type of things. The sexual assault response team coordinator would put us back into the swing of holding monthly meetings, ensuring everyone on the team from the Virginia Day Hospital, medical staff, or the pain nurses, or the sexual assault nurses, nurse, they trained in the state. Law enforcement is able to continue the training, meetings to make sure collaboration is happening between all parties involved, whether that's, the advocates, the law enforcement, the prosecution, the hospital staff, are all, coming to the table monthly to do case reviews and ensure that all victims of sexual assault are being treated in the most victim-centered way. So the goal here is to share this position amongst those 4 counties. It's looking like the budget is $13,000 per county, and you've already got the first 3, Benton being kind of the last to go, here have already committed to this. So we'd be looking at spending a day in each county, and then rotating that 5th day to whoever needs the most assistance with that. There wouldn't be an on-call component, but there would be, 24/7 TA availability on my behalf, depending on the availability. But it really would put things back on the map, where everybody is able to collaborate once again. But it would also expand beyond that sexual assault component to all victims of crime. And then, ultimately to ensure that we're complying in that county with what the Iowa 915 code states as far as making sure that we have all of their rights, done and followed through with. So we would be looking at this year being funded, and next year being funded for this position, but then a application to the Crisis and Assistance Division, to the Iowa Attorney General's office. They do have funding next year that will come available that would fully fund this position, potentially putting victim witness coordinators, one in each of the counties themselves to work full time. There's the potential to also apply for the partners to apply for that SPART grant, which would then expand to 14 counties. Along the way, I think it would be wise to also be continuously looking for additional cost of money to help expand and grow the program. So that's something that I would be doing is not relying on just one source of funding, but also be looking out for additional costs along the way. Does that help? Anybody have a question?
Anybody question?
Sorry, it's hard when I can't see people.
No, that's tough, Randy. Like I mentioned earlier, what brings this all on, that we're speaking about this today, Jerry probably has the best understanding of everybody of what took place at the Riverview Center. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit, Jerry, and then where it's led us up to today?
Well, from what I understand is the Riverview Center has become more focused now on the more larger population areas that they are going to serve. As far as the type of services that we're talking about here, that I feel is probably, I guess you have to have worked these kind of crimes the way I have or did for about 20 years to completely understand it and understand the importance of this position as you flow through these investigations. I feel we had a really good thing going there for a while. I know it made my job easier when I was still doing them. I'm sure Mark can attest to the same thing. And I know Ted would be able to agree also. So, as you know, there's been a lot of work done, including work done by the sheriff, by the chief, as far as us being able to have a hospital now that has sane nurses. We never had that.
Right.
But we have it now, and my fear is that it's just like anything else. If you keep with something and you try to build on something, hopefully for the most part, things are going to stay together. My fear is if this drops off and there is no involvement, I'd hate to lose everything that's been done in the last 4 years.
And, and I'll speak to this. Benton County has, from day one, from my experience, I had covered 14 counties. And Benton actually reached directly out to me when I had worked for Riverside Center and was very eager to, Eric had reached out to me and wanted to get this team started. And when I came in, we didn't have any response from Virginia Day. And as Jerry was saying, through the work of law enforcement and myself going together as a unit and as a team, they've established an incredible sexual assault nurse examiner program and have really dedicated time to that. So Benton has been pretty extraordinary. We don't always get that in rural communities. There's been one heck of a response. I mean, everybody's been pretty collaborative and great, and I would love to be able to be a part of keeping that moving. But what I found over my time doing this work is it does take one person to coordinate it because everyone has jobs. Law enforcement has their job to investigate, and the hospitals have their job with the medical piece, and the advocates have their piece with their clients. And so there has been a deterioration of coordination that I've gotten feedback, which is why I was asked to start to get involved in this process of looking at the position. So kudos to Benton County for that, and I do hope that there is a continuance of this. The other piece of it is having the four counties combined is there's the opportunity for leadership to meet monthly to discuss kind of what's going on amongst the counties to be able to improve services, to also be able to share, things that are happening, what's good, what's bad, and learn from each other. And that's a huge asset to, I think, law enforcement, prosecution, and to the medical community as well.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Sheriff, you indicated that this, is it pronounced SART? S-A-R-T?
Yes.
Okay. This program, four-county program, Benton County joins this, it would basically replace the Riverview Center that we have been helping fund.
Yes, we would get our coordination back so we can keep moving forward with, we've had training with dispatch, we've had training with first responding officers to these calls. Yes, that's where we would be going.
So where I believe they had a request this year for $7,000, we would probably not fund that and instead fund this.
Correct.
Okay.
And
That's your
That is our
recommendation.
request.
Okay.
this is not gonna be a 28-year or anything like that.
That'll have to all be put in place. And
That
of course,
sounds like what the counties thus far have had some discussion, and that's something that they were planning to work on, but they thought that may be the best option. But I can't speak to that. I think everyone's kind of just waiting for the final commitment of all four counties in order, before we start that process. But the other thing I do want to note is Riverside Center is very important. The advocacy, the therapy, that work is extremely important. So we would be giving referrals for that to them. So I do want to make that clear. It's just like a domestic violence agency. There would be referrals given out for those services as well.
Well, this is not an action item, is that correct?
It's just a budget
just a budget request, and give everybody a week to read through it, ask questions, and then we put it back on next week.
Okay.
We're gonna meet with, I've talked with Brandy before this phone call. We're gonna sit down and meet with Dave sometime, hopefully yet this week, and go over a few things. And then Dave would be key in the 2080 agreement between all 4 counties of getting that set up.
How many cases do you work with in Benton County?
I would
Yeah,
imagine that
it
varies.
fluctuates.
A lot.
Yeah. We have 5 sex offenses currently charged, 5 or 6.
So 15 a year? 40
Well,
a year?
As far as chargeable, then there are, you know,
Investigation.
yeah, there are many still just, it's kind of like the committals, you know, all of a sudden they just will spike. You know, I don't know if it's always happening and sometimes it's not getting reported or if it's just, you know, all of a sudden it's the bad luck of the draw.
So it's currently 5 of them that you're
That's
open
currently,
cases.
currently in the court process.
Yeah, that's,
And the more training we can get, the better. This is the time, I know all the law enforcement in the room has done this exercise. Does everybody just have a piece of paper with them? And a pen you can write on real quick? One of the things that, and this is a very, very difficult thing to do, and Jerry and I have had to do these investigations, and Mark and Ted. So we're gonna ask everybody in the room to do the same thing we're gonna ask a victim of a sexual assault to do. Just go ahead and write on the back of the piece of paper there, in detail, the last sexual encounter that you had, and then share it with the room. That's how difficult these investigations are. And people just look at you. That is exactly what the investigators are asking people to do. It is extremely difficult to do these investigations. So the more training and help we can get, the better these things go.
My question is that she just made a statement here that you will refer, maybe somebody down the road to the Cedar.
To the Riverview Center.
Yeah,
They are funded through a grant process right now.
I'm just wondering if you're gonna refer them, won't they expect us to be contributing to their budget then?
There's state funding, that covers advocacy services through the 14 counties. So there is funding that's there for that. I can't speak to what the additional supervisor funding does, and I won't because I don't want to speak for them by any means or make it a, us versus them kind of situation. But there are certainly funds that are available through the state, through PDAD, the Crime Victims Division, that does fund them to serve the 14 counties across Northeast Iowa, and to be one of them. So there would still be services provided.
Yeah, they primarily stated that they're gonna service, their main focus is gonna be the suburbs.
Yep, to service the urban areas.
Or the urban areas, I'm sorry. But they're required to provide advocacy for the rural areas as part of their grant funding. Is that correct, Brandy?
Yes.
So are we gonna invite Riverview back, or are we gonna, what's your thought?
Entirely up to you guys.
If I could just make a statement on, as far as Riverview, they've been less than desirable to work with. So, again, they're the ones that kind of got us to where we're at right now. So, I'm not a big advocate for Riverview Center.
How about you, Jerry?
I feel the same way Ted does.
I think it was good when Brandy was running it, because she came to the monthly meetings and she was a good support for everybody, but since she's not worked there, things have just gone downhill. I mean, we have random people running the meetings that,
We haven't seen
they don't send advocates anymore. It used to be Brandy, and then Brandy, you'd always bring a couple girls with you, a couple advocates, and there's,
The advocates would come out of the Cedar Rapids office.
Yeah,
Yep.
and there's just nobody, and they've been invited, continue to be invited, they just don't come, so.
It's kind of hard too when you're talking to a victim and you're you're telling them about advocacy and advocates to work with them, and in the back of your mind, you're wondering,
Are they getting done?
are they following up with these people? Are they helping them out, getting them through this?
Are these people getting funds from the state
They are,
for us?
for the victim, crime victim. They're getting that,
We give them 5,000 this year.
And they requested 7,
For this year.
so, and that 7 we can put towards the 13.
Speaking from somebody we're actually actively working in the field, we need those advocates. I mean, because a lot of us aren't trained in that kind of stuff, and we're not supposed to be because we have always had the Riverview Center, but we just need that support here. Those people that are trained, because a lot of the time it's before it even reaches law enforcement, the advocates are the ones that will come, and meet with the victim and ask them, do you want to turn this in, and then they walk them through the entire process. They'll go to court with them, they'll do the whole 9. So if we don't have those advocates in Benton County, we just don't have anybody that is going to be able to be qualified enough to help them walk them through that process.
Well, as Ron, our sheriff, indicated, they gave us items we should look at, a handout. I think we should review it, get it on the agenda for next week to take some action.
And we need to let Riverview know if they're supposed to be coming in or not.
Right.
Thank you, Brandy.
You bet. You have a good day.
Yep, bye-bye. Put us on the next agenda, Haley?
With the whole SART team again, or just?
You want the whole thing, or do you just wanna?
Well, do we want to invite Riverview and let them speak a piece, or just, are we gonna give them a yes or no? Otherwise.
I would be in favor of giving them a no on the funding.
Want to send them the happy news?
Well, you don't want to let that funding go by the wayside, though. You just don't want it to go to Riverview.
Right,
We would put it towards.
yeah, put it towards this.
This is something new then, if you're gonna start. The 28E with the 4 counties.
What is the name?
That
of
is
it?
new.
That would be no.
Okay.
You'd have to work through with the other 3 county attorney's offices to get that all set up.
That would be new.
You want to shoot for 9:30 again?
Sure, thank you.
Gentlemen, there's 15, 16 people here in the room. I think we should probably do the prudent thing, even though none of us care for it.
I don't have one.
Want my hat?
It's got one out there.
On.
over at the door.
Okay.
Long time no see.
It's used.
That's even thoughts.
I'll say it's good when we don't see him.
That's right.
I just got my piece up for Lois has been tomorrow.
Lowest it's been?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I don't
Should
know.
we stay on the time item?
I think you need to follow your timeline.
Okay, I guess we're here to discuss the office space in the basement.
So anybody with the SART, I think we're done. We're gonna put it on for next week. So you're more than welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting though. So who put this on the agenda? I did. Okay.
Safety and maintenance, and then I know I asked you last week, I know we discussed moving Mark and Barb down to the GIS room, contingent if we still could make space work for all the others. And that's kind of what we want, to know where we're at with that, because their new employee's gonna start here in a month, so.
And that the GIS room is the one that's adjacent to their
Correct.
office currently.
And Ben was wondering when we're gonna move our election equipment out, but I don't know where I'm supposed to put it. So we kinda need to get moving on.
GIS room is used for election worker training, and I have 10 to 15 people in there when I do training. I do it morning and night, and I do it for a week at a time. Ben sets up my election equipment there for my iPads. That takes about a week. So,
Auditors, state auditors.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
state auditors go in there as well. So that room, I cannot do that. I will not move that to another building. Plainly said, you can't have election equipment and ballots, move
Security stuff that we have.
the
in place.
security and that sort of thing.
So
So
we
that's
need to
my
know
stance
where our
on it.
space is
It's
going.
not that you refuse to move it, it's that it's not prudent to move it.
Not out of the courthouse.
It's not safety.
I get that, I get it.
We can move
Yeah.
it somewhere else within the courthouse,
Right,
I'm
you
fine
came
with it.
across it,
Yep.
like,
No.
no way in hell am I gonna move it.
Well, we just can't bring equipment over
Correct.
here.
I get it, I get it. So,
We don't wanna be in the news for people hacking our equipment.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. All right. So,
You and Justin wanna talk with them later?
Huh?
I mean, I know Luke's here, which I felt like you should be included since we did discuss you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
What's your opinion, Luke? You weren't included the last time you got moved, so.
He was included the last time he got moved, and he had supervisors that showed up. So I understand that turf wars are always, sprout up from time to time, but let's at least be factual about it. He was involved the last time, as were his supervisors. 2 supervisors came out, one on one occasion, took him on a tour of properties, and a second time, another one showed up. Total of 2 different meetings they attended. So,
And I don't think I ever said anything different from that.
no, I'm not to you, Luke, but I'm just saying that, the statement that he wasn't involved the last time, or wasn't notified or whatever, that's not true.
Proceed, Luke.
Barb,
Yeah, I don't, as far as where my office is located, obviously, I would prefer to be in the courthouse. Court hearings, if I have 4 or 5 court hearings in a day, it'd be nice to not hang out there for a couple hours if they're a half-hour apart or whatever. We do need to, and I asked Julie to come just because our IT stuff, network, that she knows I'm connected in with the clerk's office. So if we left, courthouse came here, I don't know what all that would entail as far as getting our network set up. I think it would have to be all brand new. We're separate, we're different than DHS. We're, I guess, our own network, so that would all have to be installed new.
And I verified that. I contacted our IT person locally. It would we'd have to put a call ticket into the help desk. We'll have to get bids and stuff like that if you wanted to relocate him. I also thought this really came at a good time too for him to ask me about this because we're doing our continuing operations plan for the clerk's office in case of a disaster. Where would the clerk's office go if, we had something happen like in Marshalltown where we have to be off-site? I could take him out to our Iowa County and do some work from home, but we're gonna have to have a place for people to file stuff. If this is some kind of thing that you're thinking about getting Luke moved, maybe we could have some kind of agreement that the clerk's office gets a space here. If we have to pay for the new lines and stuff that are coming in, this would be something that the state might think is beneficial if this is gonna be our off-site place if there would happen to be some kind of damage that the courthouse has to be evacuated. But then you also have to think about where are the other county officers going to go to. So that's something that we were going to try to work on this week. Maybe
so that was in that,
yeah.
piece you sent out.
So I was hoping that maybe we could get together Friday. The judge hasn't gotten in contact with me, but maybe you and Scott and I could get together Friday sometime in the afternoon if possible, or whatever time's good for you, or Thursday afternoon.
That's fine.
And work out this so we can get it submitted to the state. That would be great. But that's just something I'm going to put out there. Like Luke said, it's going to take a while for us to get him moved, but if he was in the courthouse, he'll still have access to all of our cabling and stuff.
behind you, Barb. Well, here's a question I have. there's only so much square footage in the courthouse.
Right.
And so your system is the internet, basically, correct? Which is kind of a closed network.
Right.
Right? Kind of like DHS is a closed network. When we moved over here, we couldn't piggyback on their network or their lines. We had to set up our own.
Right.
That would be the same issue if Luke relocated here. He couldn't go on with DHS network or county network. It would be a third network.
Right.
All right. Well, you know, I'm not the brightest person in the world. That's pretty obvious. But, you know, to me, we have been meeting over here. And that room for the supervisors is vacant. Is that, just a question, is that a large enough area for you? I don't know how you can get any closer to the clerk's office.
I actually mentioned to Julie earlier, jokingly. I didn't know, because I knew you guys had been meeting over here and
Right.
being next to the clerk and then the courtroom right next door. I think that would be
Almost an ideal
That
That would be a
situation.
perfect location, because we have
Yeah.
juvenile court right next
David.
door to it.
Primer, I don't know if you woke up on the right side of the bed or not.
Probably not.
But
At least woke
that
up.
meeting room, although convenient for the supervisors meeting, I mean, we're constantly crowded in there, don't have enough room in there.
Right.
And if Luke has moved before, and that is a pain for anybody who has to go through it, but if that were an acceptable room, this is actually a great room to meet in due to its size. I mean, if you guys are okay with it.
Well, if
that
we
would be
would
a lot
have,
easier to wire, because the wiring's already in courthouse, it just needs to be routed into that room. That room would need to have a secure door put in between that room and the judge's chambers on the second floor. It's something that's a little more soundproof too, but that would solve a lot of problems.
if we were all at our regular boardroom right now, we'd be sitting on top of each other. There's no doubt about
We
it,
got people standing.
for sure.
The only other thing that I can interject is we use that during election time for our absentee team to meet with them. That's where they open up ballots and that sort
Well,
of
but
thing. So,
if Luke's office is opened up,
but you're going on if. I'm just,
I get it. If that office is opened up and he relocates upstairs, wouldn't his office space give you more than enough room?
we experienced in 2020 that having the absentee team on the same floor, right there for questions, because our phones are ringing off the hook and everything else, being able to go across the hall, especially when our phones went down and that sort of thing, that was ideal, to have them accessible.
Well, we benefited Julie, we had no court, so it worked out,
I
and we
mean-
took over the magistrate court.
Nothing's gonna be ideal, I'm just saying,
Right.
but you're just talking about an office that, there's other things that go on with it that you don't realize, and I'm just pointing that out.
Pointing one of those items out, that is
Yep.
correct. Luke, are you in the courthouse 100% of the time?
No, I
Okay.
meet with kids at schools, at their
Okay.
homes.
So if there was things going on such as absentee ballots, would you be able to make arrangements to work off-site at that point?
If I had a heads up, I have a laptop that I can take with me and
Okay.
work outside or plan visits on that day or.
Would that help?
Yeah, I'm just,
Not to
The
mention,
issue- I guess, let me backtrack. I don't think that would work just because of all the files and stuff that would be in there.
I was
And the
gonna say,
confidentiality.
okay.
oh,
okay,
Yeah, so it wouldn't be able to be used for,
you don't have walking file cabinets?
well, yeah, I would have to check on that even if,
It is
Even
under
if that would
surveillance
be-
too, if that matters.
what was that?
We have it under surveillance camera.
Camera up there.
Yeah. I would have to check on that if that would still be acceptable or not. I guess I wouldn't be comfortable giving you an answer on that today.
Sure.
And
I
Justin,
just know that it has to be a secure room and.
Well, to me, that, and the other two aren't speaking up, but to me, that seems like a pretty obvious. It's not as convenient for someone like Haley, who's got to bring all this stuff over here constantly. I get that. Not as convenient for department heads who've got to, walk out of the courthouse and get in their car and come over. I get it,
If I knew it
but
was a permanent situation, I would leave my stuff here in the cupboard, that would be fine.
lock it up in the cupboard.
That wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
Maybe we'd have your mail come here too for you guys.
You bet.
Now, yesterday when I was up to the courthouse in the basement, I did got the tape measure out and I measured. One other thing I come up with, that you could put in the GSI room, a wall down the center and separate that. It'd be two small offices. I don't know if it's enough square footage to make it work.
And there is like cabling and
And I
projector.
did
all
push a
that stuff.
pencil last night. And just materials alone, $630. And I'm just
To
throwing that
put a
out
wall
there.
up.
Yes.
But would a wall, would that be sufficient? Would half the room
Well,
be
then we
sufficient
were
for
thinking maybe
GSI?
Luke and the new employee from Mark and Barbara share that space. And
Would
then-
not.
No,
No.
and then we would go over in Luke's space for the training.
But how much more square footage do you guys need? Because, I mean, our office is smaller than your guys' office, and we're 4 in one office, I guess is my question.
Couple of things before I even answer that question. I came here November 24th and sat before the board in Haley and asked you about the use of that GIS room next to us. And I was seeking your approval for using it, and you gave me that approval to use that. That's my understanding. I have the minutes with me if you'd like to see that. The second thing is that what I don't understand is why after that approval was given, why now is this an issue and why am I just now hearing about it yesterday?
Well, I believe.
If this was an issue, I
Because
should have heard about it before yesterday.
Well,
I
we
went
didn't
ahead
realize
and
Luke
hired a
wasn't
person.
involved. That's right.
Could I finish?
Yeah, yeah.
I went ahead and hired a person with the idea that I was promised the use of that space. I was given approval, okay? Nobody came to me after that and said that there was a problem with that issue, which I'm always happy to hear about problems because we get a lot of them. Now, your question about space, what we have a lot of times is an influx of people that come to our office. And you know as well as I do what we do, basically. We have a lot of people come in wanting to do development, they want to do splitting of ground, they want to do whatever project. Sometimes they bring their whole family, okay? And in order to accommodate that and sit around and be able to talk about it, the idea of having a little extra space with a conference table seemed like a good idea in order to get us off of the top of each other. You guys also know that when everybody's on the telephone, it's kind of hard to hear and kind of hard to digest what it is that's being said. And we have to make decisions based on what's being said, and we have to be right. So the idea of that office all just kind of fell into place that it could work for us. So basically what I'm saying is I was given approval, so why has it changed now? Why are we having this discussion now after I went ahead and hired somebody?
Last week, I'll speak on that, because Ben asked me when we were gonna move our election equipment. And so I approached Rick and I said, did anybody talk to Luke? Because that's where I thought we left it. You guys were gonna discuss it with Luke. He wasn't at that meeting that Mark was here. So that's why we invited him today. We just kinda wanna know, I don't have a problem with you guys taking the GIS room. We just need communication between all the departments. We have Justin that wants to move and make bigger space. I mean, Lexa uses it. You just need communication. That's where things go astray,
And
because
there was no communication with me whatsoever. It's been 2.5 months since I was in here asking for approval.
I brought it up last week, did I not? And it was in the board meeting. I asked you what Luke had said, or if you talked to him, and I was gonna put it on the agenda. So that's where it was left. And then I know Tracy and everybody's, I'm always the middle guy, because I'm the bad person that has to do the board's agenda.
Well,
I'm
I
sorry.
personally think there's, the supervisor's room is a good fit. And, yes, I understand your elections are they annual? You
We
have
have
election
elections
every
every
year? At some point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. And Luke said he could check to see what security measures, whether locking file cabinets would be sufficient with camera already in there, you can see if there's any tampering. So,
Justin, you speak up on that. I mean, You've approached me, so I don't wanna speak on your behalf, so.
As far as what?
Well, you want more space too.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
please speak up.
Yeah,
It's not
we
just
need-
coming from me.
Yeah, Rick and I are sitting in a little closet.
Yeah.
You know, we got crap packed everywhere, and it's time to, and if we're supposed to be 6 feet apart, we can't do that in a 5.5 foot office. You know, I don't have a desk even, I have a table. You know.
Well, we have some storage area. There used to be wasn't it BA that was downstairs?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Dave's got that.
And could some of that storage area be emptied out and put into storage someplace? And utilize
What's
those
in there is, the vast majority of what's in there are files that we're maintaining. A lot of file cabinets.
File cabinets.
Okay.
Right, half dozen or better.
You know, and it's, I mean, if you need it, we'll have to move it someplace else. And we don't really have any place else.
Well, I'm thinking
We're like
of
everywhere
file
else.
cabinets could
But
sit.
it's not very much room.
It's narrow, it's less than 5, it's less than, what do you say, 5.5?
It's a walk-in closet.
Like as you go in
In your
the-
room?
Oh. In that 4 foot by 4 foot. Yeah.
5 foot by 16.
I mean,
Empty.
well, what is it? Yeah, I have
Huh?
boxes in there. Yeah.
5 foot by 16.
Is that area that has the storage in there
What he
currently,
uses, yeah.
which is a whole lot bigger for custodians than a 5.5 by 5.5.
Well, I'll let Justin speak up to where he wants to go. There's probably at least 10 file cabinets in there,
And, yeah, at least.
at least. This is other
And the jog, well,
This other
actually,
junk can go.
I forgot to tell you, there's a big jog out in there too, of the concrete pillars. I forgot to tell you that after the fact. We just looked and left.
We used to house the VA in that little room years ago.
Is that on the east side where the BA was?
We
One
housed,
side's got pipes in the center. That's bigger, but it's got,
That's
that's
where all the
not an
boiler,
option.
all the boiler pipes go through,
Yeah.
both of them actually.
Sure.
we
Justin,
could,
have you ever thought about using that room that you guys have the shelves in that's right adjacent to where your little office is and opening up something in there?
No, it gets really cold in there.
No, I know, okay.
Yeah, very. That's why we always keep that door shut when you come down to our office, that door there, we always keep that shut, cause that's draft from the generator.
Well, I'm pretty sure the county would provide you some heat, if it came down to it. No, Tippett says no. Sorry.
I knew he would.
Well, what I'd recommend is that Luke, the auditor's office, Justin, the custodial people, Mark, even the chairman, get together and try to hash this out. What can we do to make this work so Mark has this office space for his new employee? We all sit here and chew up time, but I don't think we're coming up to any alternatives yet. And so if you'd have representatives from different departments get together, come back with a recommendation. That's what I would say.
Is that a form of a motion?
You damn right.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, I'm gonna direct it to everybody that's here right now. This afternoon, is everybody busy that I can get together with everybody at the courthouse? Keep continuing on with this to decide what we're gonna do?
we should probably put Ben if you have to do wiring too.
Sure.
That work for you?
I can be around, yes.
Okay. Art?
What's the end result? Do I have that space or not?
Yeah, you're gonna get it.
Okay.
It's the idea where we're gonna put him, I guess, basically.
I think it would work out with Luke. We may have to get rid of the, security camera inside because that can't be there when he's working with. But that's,
Can't you turn it on and off?
I would think that you should be able to turn it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we'd probably just stick it up in the ceiling. And just put a different.
Well, he doesn't want to, if he's out of the office.
And it's like, if it's not, if it's only like shooting at the door, that would be fine, so he can see who's coming in, but as him working or sitting there with a client or whatever, you just can't have that as a visual, but
I think the black got out, I think he's done that.
Yeah, I
way.
think-
Cameras move real easy.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a problem, as long as it's not focusing on
Yeah.
him at work with somebody, but if it's catching the door who's coming in, especially if he has somebody breaking into his office, it's good to have that.
And that's some stuff that can be discussed this afternoon.
Right.
With
But I don't
Ben in
think,
there.
I think IT will be really a simple fix because we have, on both sides, we have the line going and it
Yeah.
wouldn't take much to get it over there. Not to mention we have Wi-Fi, you know, for the judicial branch, Wi-Fi too, so you can hook into that, even if that was a temporary thing for right now.
Yep, yep.
So that would probably be a really quick fix for you.
The only
Yeah,
thing-
that would, I mean, that would.
What time are you gonna get together?
2 o'clock? Work? I have a question for you.
Well, I was gonna ask a question too, but go ahead.
How often do you use the room?
Well, I use it for, my, book guy that comes and, and does the laminating of my old books.
Okay, okay,
So, once a year
okay,
comes.
not that often,
for a week.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
So he just can't, like, I've tried to use the jury room upstairs on 3rd floor, and he blows the fuses with his machine. So that's why we went to the GIS room, and it's got the big table, and he spread out his sheets and books. So I guess my question is, so then is Luke's room gonna be like a GIS room
Correct.
for us to use?
I'd
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what the plan is.
As long as everybody understands there that from now on, if we're moving over here to this building,
So I don't know.
all the time, you're gonna have to come over here on Tuesday.
So the staffing is doing
Does
it on the
everybody
way.
understand this?
I'm used to it now. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't know if it's enjoying since I.
You too?
I like
I
this.
don't know.
Yeah.
But when I just had.
Sheriff?
I'm in.
So 2 o'clock, where at? Just,
Meet in the GIS room down there?
Yeah, let's meet in the GSI room. 2 o'clock. The only one we don't know is Ben. If you can text him to make sure he's gonna be available.
I can when I get back.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, if this all comes to pass, what room, if any, is left over here in this building? Is there anything?
Well, you guys do it to that tax
Well, we
lady.
got technically a room and a half.
Right.
But the half a room is kinda spoken for right now for the
Okay.
gal.
For the month of February, for sure.
Taxes.
Starting with-
Would it be prudent to, if there's still a room available, unless there's some, quickly foreseeable, reasonably foreseeable, office that's gonna have to go in there, would it be smart to preserve that as a new conference room?
The food pantry is using it at the end of the hall.
Okay.
And they got, it's full.
It's just supposedly temporary, you know.
Is the Horizons, where Horizons used to be, is that room spoken?
Correct.
Is that where the food pantry puts all their stuff on?
Yes.
Okay.
If you peek in there, they got groceries
I
all the way
wasn't sure
around
if
the
that was one
outside
or two
wall.
down there.
Hopefully the Abbey said they are still interested. Tracy's got to build more offices.
I got dibs on Tracy before any of y'all.
Was the conference room in the jail available?
Yep.
I mean, that, when it was built, that was part of the conversation then, that that'd be available.
Absolutely.
The only thing I just don't like about, she has to move so much stuff.
Well, if it's gonna be a permanent structure, I have no problem. That way I could have my computer, printer, everything just one here. And it's the stuff going back and forth right now, because you guys mail and you need signatures on stuff. I still need you guys to report to the courthouse probably once
Yeah.
a week to get
Yeah.
stuff done.
It's not gonna be an easy fix for anybody.
No, but we just needed to talk to communicate together.
Yes, that's, communication is very bad in the building.
Because I thought after Mark left that day, you guys approached Luke and it was a done deal, and we were gonna go forward, so. And then next thing I knew, it was, where are we going with our stuff? So Mark, I apologize, we weren't trying to go behind your back, that's where it was left.
Okay, well, it should be resolved. Can you get it on the agenda for next week?
You need it on the agenda?
You made a motion to.
You already did that.
To do the committee
Well, you
business,
said to discuss it and come back and report to you.
and report to us so we can take action. If we're gonna move, we need to let the public know.
Okay, yep, yep. Alrighty, we all hashed out on that? 2 o'clock?
Today, and then how about
Today.
10 o'clock next Tuesday then to report back?
Okay, that's fine. Onward and upward. Where we're at. Do we wanna do Kreml right away?
What is that?
I have the resolution marked.
No, we got the 10 o'clock.
Here's the sign.
Thank you.
And then I have your signature, but I'll put that when we record it.
The only thing I don't have.
Next courthouse.
Yeah, he hasn't sent me mine yet either.
Yeah.
Actually, we put some partitions up in the hallways, we could lot more up.
This is not a signed one, Rick, but it's extra one here, so I got one for you. Firmal's first edition, or Firmal's edition to Benton County final plat is what you're, discussing today, approving that resolution. If you remember back in July it was, we did a variance to some of the provisions of the ordinance. Firmal's came here in August and we did a land use change for them. This is the end of this process, basically. They needed to parcel off part of their ground in order to be able to build their new home in respect to their construction loan and et cetera. This is, everything's in order. They followed all the steps completely. It's just simply a matter of approving this resolution to finalize it. Just so you remember, guys, it's off of 26th Avenue on the west side, just north of 70th Street, which is the blacktop going to New Hall. And it's on parents' ground, basically, is what it amounts to. So everything is in order for approval of that final plat.
So moved.
And seconded.
Okay, by resolution.
Pearson, aye.
Primer, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Have to get our big map back up here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So Mark can point at it.
Thank you.
The deputy sheriff, quick, you wanna do that? John gave me
No,
appointing John Lindeman.
Yeah, it takes just,
Yep.
let's do it.
So we need a motion to approve John Lindeman as the deputy under the sheriff. He was already sworn in, but we needed a formal resolution for the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we might as well start on the courthouse.
Thank you.
As for this map,
Let me let the sheriff know.
that's right, we didn't have it here.
Where'd the sheriff go?
That's,
Oh, I know he's crazy, but where'd he?
Oh, he's still here.
Time to do the code on it.
Yeah, she was on the
That's right,
phone.
Melinda's here.
Melinda's
They'll
back
hang out
up
the
in
boys
there.
up here a while.
Okay.
Is Melinda out there?
Yes.
She's on the phone.
She's coming.
Maybe.
Won't hang out there long, will you?
No.
Okay, as for this map, last Tuesday, when we had our supervisors meeting,
Are you on the agenda item?
10 a.m. one, item
Okay.
10, yeah.
Is this something that you wanna go into closed session for, since it deals with security?
How does COVID being, how's that security related?
It's building security, it's completely a safety matter for the buildings. And in fact, you will recall, we have gone into multiple closed sessions. on
Right,
this in the
but
past.
we need to cite it, doesn't have to be cited on the agenda prior to, you know?
No. And you've got the code section there.
Which one? Which one do you wanna use? That's what I'm not clarified, because I read through it and I'm not sure it's really covered under,
Well, why don't you pull up one of your past board meetings?
I
where you
have,
it.
and we use J, but I just had another person say that I don't know if it's.
Well, I will say this, David C. Thompson, Benton County Attorney, says it's completely legal to go into a closed session to discuss county building security issues. Just like we do when we talk about cameras or anything else, and COVID is a building security issue.
And
But
it
if
does
you don't
say-
want, you don't want to go into a closed session, you don't have to, but given some of the things that get said in these meetings, might be good to kind of talk about it first, and then come out of closed session and announce what your policy would be.
It does
That's
say
how we've done
possible
it.
closed session
Can
on
I
here.
speak up before we go into closed session first off?
Go ahead.
Tracy. I was asked to do the research for this, get the map, and I only emailed it to the 3 supervisors because Tracy asked me.
We're not on that. We're
No,
not-
I'm
we're not-
talking about where this
We're
started.
not, before we get into any of that stuff, is the question before the board is this something you want to go into a closed session for?
But I wanted in the public record why I'm getting thrown under the bus.
You're not getting thrown under the bus by anybody.
Oh, really?
That's the question.
Let's go into, if we're gonna go into closed session, let's get it done. Gary,
You were gonna speak up.
you wanna go into closed session?
I wanted
I
to,
want it in public.
I wanted to, that's why I tried it at the beginning here.
Well, from now on, I just want
I'm
you all
not
to
running
know.
your meeting. You don't have to go into closed session if you don't want to.
I
but
just
think there's
wanted
some good
on
reasons
fact.
for it.
The reason this map come about.
And I don't have a problem with the map. The map's
Okay,
public
okay,
information.
that's
But
what I
I'm
wanted
gonna-
on there.
You were,
She did not do this. I asked her to do this.
I have not done anything to anybody
you
other
forwarded
than,
the email to everybody but myself and belittled me because I spoke my
I didn't
opinion.
belittle anybody.
Well, I just want to say, all of us department heads and elected officials are grown-ups. So I feel I follow up when I'm asked to do something. So when I report to the board, I report it to
I
them.
guess I would say this to you. Someone is taking insult out of something in which no insult was meant. I forwarded information to other department heads, and it was after hours when I did it, because that's when I became aware of it, and I even said in the email, if I've left someone off, I'm sorry, but I'm sitting here trying to
I don't think it said
populate.
that in the email. But whatever, I'm above that. I'm not trying to point fingers, I'm just tired of the animosity of the courthouse.
There's no animosity in this meeting.
When I got the email, I was confused as to why I got it, first of all. And then I was reading the original one that was sent, that Haley sent to the supervisors. I'm like, okay, well, how
Are we
did,
here to talk
how
about a
did they
COVID
get
policy,
the
or are we
email?
talking about an email that Mr. Thompson tried to send to some department heads, which the words, quite frankly, speak for themselves? in
but
the
it's an
email.
opinion. I felt like Haley expressed an opinion. We've all expressed our opinions. I've had supervisors stop in my office and ask me, how's things going? I'll say, let's open up. I felt like that really wasn't.
We're not even on the agenda item, Tracy.
Here we are, opening the courthouse is what we're on.
You're talking about an email and personalities and disgruntlement.
Well, it was our opinions, that was towards the courthouse opening, so I feel.
So I guess, Mr. Chair, I'd ask you to take control of your meeting.
Do we want to go in closed session, or do you want to keep it open for public record?
I think we should be transparent, the public wants to know
wants to know what
what's going on. That's my opinion, so you guys, every department head I feel should speak their piece and decide what we want to do. If we want to go into closed session.
Do I have a motion from one of you two guys to go in closed session?
It was put here for possible closed session just to discuss our COVID policy. And again, I think we have discussed that in
Right,
closed
but I
session
just, I was
before.
questioned by an IPID board, and I just want to know what code section that it's covered under for courthouse closings. Security matters is the metal detectors and that kind of stuff. We're already screening the hill. We're talking courthouse due to COVID, not security.
It is security.
Okay, then
It's
what
building
code section do
safety.
you want us to
It's
do?
the same code section that we've cited in
So
the
what
past.
one is that? Tell me.
If you want, I'll look it up on my phone.
Well, I'm not saying go back to
But
the
you
prior
could
minute.
also,
I
you
just-
could also, you could probably find it easier. if you
I
look
have
up
the
on your-
book. Would you like to tell me which one?
No, actually, what I'd like to do is finish the sentence without being interrupted. That's what I'd like to do.
Okay, go ahead.
You could, I'm sure on your computer, look back a few months ago, we went to closed session.
I can, but I just don't feel it's,
Yeah, I
relevant
don't
to
wanna
that
argue it, but it's the code section that we've used before.
so why
and-
can't you speak it before we go into the closed session?
Because I don't have the Iowa code memorized, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Here, I'm offering you the book.
I'm gonna look it up on my phone.
Okay, that's all I'm asking, so its minutes are covered.
Yeah, but you could find it, you can find it.
I'll
last
make
night.
a motion that we go into closed session and Dave will find out what that code section is.
Thank you.
Gary, are you gonna second it? You're not gonna second it. Tracy, are you gonna second it?
Well, Wade's looking, I better second it to keep it quiet.
Okay,
I've said my.
now call for vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're in favor of it, but you wouldn't throw a second. Okay.
Well, we gotta stop importing and start
Yep.
a new one.
You wanna look the code up, please?
No, I'll look it up later.
You
You know, if
add it.
you get county attorney to do stuff, give them a little bit of forewarning and notice.
It can be added to
Seriously.
the minutes.
Well, I don't feel comfortable, so Tina's taking minutes on my behalf, so that I'm not involved with.
Okay, that's fine. Thank
Did
you.
you restart the recording for the,
No, well, I gotta do that, so you just gotta get it second, because the camera, if you get into that trouble, you guys want me to go.